if he'd solved the crime.
Not a word, man.
Not a word.
That scene does bring to mind the high-functioning sociopath line. Do you guys, what's your take on Sherlock's sociopathy or whatever? You know, do you think he's a sociopath?
Not really. I think he finds that a convenient way of getting away with it. I think he probably wonders early on if he is. I think he slowly discovers when he faces off with Moriarty that, no, that's a sociopath. I'm comparatively nice compared to that. But I think he finds it a convenient label. It means if he says he's a high-functioning sociopath, then people won't expect him to do boring things like talk. He makes
a convenient diagnosis.
Yeah. He makes a decision to be that.
Yeah, we talked a lot about that with Moriarty, that actually it's only when he encounters this other being who appears to be his shadow that he realizes, no, actually I am on the side of the good guys. He's never really noticed that before, but it's a conscious thing. And actually the slow humanization that John encourages is all part of that. It's sociopathy, by the way.
And at the end of Series 2, his reputation was pretty tarnished at that point. I mean, so can you give any hint of what his reputation is after all that happened?
Oh, we can't really. I mean, the main thing to stress is that we knew we couldn't spend 3 entire episodes dealing with what happened last time. Yeah. So there's a lot of housekeeping we have to do to get on with it, really. Really get to the stuff we want to do, which is them getting back together.
You know, after the end of the third season, or the end of the second season rather, there was of course the great cliffhanger. Does Series 3 also end in a cliffhanger?
Well, the answer to that question is itself a cliffhanger.
Only if you don't respond.
Well, I think you will be watching the end of the last episode thinking, they wouldn't stop it there. And then they wouldn't stop it there, would they? And oh dear God, they wouldn't stop it there, would they? And that will go on for a while.
2 years.
Yes.
One thing we mustn't do, though, is do some kind of cliffhanger, which means we have to go back 18 months later and try and reproduce it again. We've done that twice, and it's very difficult.
I mean, is this the type of series that you can picture sort of, coming back to, taking breaks and then coming back and doing more and sort of having that sort of ongoing open...
I mean, the tradition, sorry.
So I think as long as everybody wants to keep doing it, which they do at the moment, they want to do it, we want to keep doing it, then we will keep doing it. I mean, your idea was they start quite young, so you've got a long way.
And also by the accident of how we make them, which wasn't the plan, there's a huge gap in between, as you know, where Benedict and Martin can go off and make big movies, or in Martin's case, one long movie.
3 long movies.
And then come back to the show that they love doing. So if we keep that model going, it's ideal, really.
It's interesting, isn't it? As a model for television, which you'd never have invented, the traditional model is you make an awful lot of episodes over 4 or 5 years, even 7 years, until you're utterly sick of it, and then stop and never make it again. It doesn't have to be the only way you make television. Why not make an awful lot of episodes over an awful lot of years?
Right.
And so that no one gets suffocated by it and strangled by it. For a few more gaps there.
There is something rather lovely about the idea of Benedict and Martin aged 55 around the same fireplace, but dealing with the stresses and strains and aches and pains of growing older, and actually becoming the age that we normally associate with Holmes and Watson. Yeah.
There is a little wail from the audience, the prospect of that big battle.
You will age with them.
Yes.
And the great kindness of age is as your face disintegrates, so does your eyesight.
They'll always
well, that's cheering, wasn't it? Because I was just thinking what age I'll be when they're that age.
And when they're blind, you will be too.
Let's turn this over to you guys. Let's see if we have some questions.
Project, dear. If you yell, we'll say it to the thing.
Oh, hello?
Hello.
I appreciate the three of you and your brilliant work you do in Sherlock. I was wondering, are you considering doing other projects together in the future?
Well, we'd love to when we have time, but all our time is occupied doing the projects we're doing, really. So, yeah.
But in future, yes. I mean, it's not the first time any of us have actually worked together. Obviously, Sue and I have raised children and a sitcom together, and Mark and I have done the same. It's controversial, but
it works. It's
a medical miracle, frankly.
It's a working model. Spell valetudinarianism.
I would really like to know what you guys have to say to Sir Conan Arthur Doyle. Were you given the chance to hijack the TARDIS or travel back in time and meet him?
I'd say, why are you spelling your name like that?
I'd say, what are you doing with my TARDIS?
Well, we owe everything to Conan Doyle. He's a genius writer, possibly the best writer of short stories there's ever been. And everything we do, we owe to him. So I'd like to say thank you. But by the way, spiritualism isn't true.
Yeah, it's true though. I'd actually, you would like to, he sort of at least affected to believe throughout his life that these stories didn't really matter and weren't very good. And you'd like to say they are simply the best storytelling of its kind. And you are sort of inventing television, which hasn't been invented yet. The idea of different adventures for the same characters is his idea on a weekly basis. So he sort of invents popular television. And he's still a big hit in it. So
yeah, he's doing all right.
Yeah, he's doing all right.
No, also I think there's been quite a few
He's doing
times.
all right, Arthur.
Been quite a few times when you two have been stuck on your scripts, and actually you go, I just went back to the original story and the answer was.
Oh, many times, many times. I was trying to work out a very good entrance in for Sherlock in episode 3 when we're just about to film, and I was thinking, film, listen to me, so old-fashioned. I went back to these stories and found a great entrance for him. So he's covered it all. He's brilliant.
Are there any particular Doyle stories that you haven't done yet that you're sort of particularly eager to do eventually?
There are moments more than stories, because most of the stories I would give you about 20 minutes of screen time. That's the truth.
Yeah.
I mean, like A Scandal in Belgravia, the first 20 minutes or half an hour of it is more or less a faithful adaptation of the original story, and that's all you've got. But there are stories also, the ones that aren't quite as good stories, with great ideas in them, like The Engineer's Thumb, which ends very suddenly, because I think someone came around Sir Arthur's house and said, would you like a game of cricket? And he said, yeah, hang on, there we go. I'll just finish the Greek interpreter while I'm at it. 5 orange pets or
shipwreck, another shipwreck. I'd love to do the Red-Headed League. That's one of my favorites.
Why?
So I could wear a red wig to cover up the gaps. And the Speckled Band is your favourite.
Speckled Band is a genius. If you haven't read the Speckled Band, go and read the Speckled Band. It makes no sense at all, but there is something exciting on every page. When I first read that when I was very young, 38 or something, I remember thinking, it just doesn't get better than that. It's amazing. Makes no sense at all. It keeps a snake in a safe, but it's brilliant. So if you haven't read it, 2 things you must do is you must go and read the Speckled Band, and you must go and watch The Private Life of Sherlock Holmes. If you like our show, you'll love that.
Wait, Benedict and Martin are here. What a lovely surprise.
Hi, I'm Christina. Wow, that's loud. My question sort of spins off something you just answered. If you could write any episode, not necessarily based on any story, what would it be?
Well, we're sort of doing that, really. I mean, we've always, we just sort of take the bits that we like more than adapting full stories, so there isn't really anything. I mean, we're always thinking about big storylines, and because they're movie-sized stories, so we're trying to think of a story with a scale that deserves that sort of length. But
because sometimes you put bits in and they come out again, don't they? I'm sure.
Yeah.
Sometimes, isn't it?
Oh yes.
Just find the right
Yeah, but I mean, in a way, going back to private life, you want your sort of Loch Ness monster story. You want some really great big thing, a bit like the aeroplane in Scandal in Belgravia. It's a really clever thing that appears to be. I'm saying this because Steve wrote it. You see, it appears to be inconsequential, and at the end you get this fantastic reveal with a great big plane full of dead people, and that's the sort of thing we're looking for. More planes full of corpses.
Yeah.
I'll just tell you how production works on that. So Stephen was finishing the script, and I'm trying to find information on the script because we're in pre-production. I'm going, anything you can tell me, any clues, anything we need to get? Yeah, can you get me a jumbo?
With corpses. Actually, that is one of the very funniest things we ever did. That night of filming, it was just me and Benedict and all these extras, and Stephen arrived from Doctor Who and went straight into first class and fell asleep for the rest of the shoot. But we had all these people being dead, and they were being very, very good dead because they just went to sleep. And then in the middle of a very good take, I particularly remember one of the corpses just went... He didn't get a free biscuit. Yes, sir.
Hi, my name's Henry. Love the show. Benedict put on a lot of muscle mass for Star Trek. Was there any concern from you guys that this physical transformation would make him no longer look like Sherlock Holmes?
Well, to be honest, I tell you a strange thing. In the second series, he put on a lot of muscle for Frankenstein on stage, and he did look a bit bulkier, didn't he? But this year, no, I think he's put the muscle on, but he still looks very trim. And actually, it's absolutely true. He just gets more handsome every year. He's sort of saying that in a totally dispassionate way.
It was towards the end of the second series when he was going towards Parade's End.
Yes.
He was trying to put on weight.
Yeah.
And we kept seeing him trying to shove cakes.
It's a difficult thing. But he's grown into that. He looks really very dashing now. Very heroic.
It's an interesting phenomenon. You should look at it. I'm starting to notice it more and more. Is people get better looking as they get more famous. It's true. They're both so much more handsome.
It's a terrible life lesson. I'm sure there's something wrong.
Is there any possibility of, with Irina Adler not being in season 3, any possibility of any hints of romance for Sherlock? Is he even interested remotely?
He really is, to be honest. I mean, sex for Sherlock, it happens up here. You know, sex is brain work for him. So, I mean, romance. Can you imagine a romance with Sherlock Holmes? Dear God, he'd poison his girlfriend just as if it worked. Look, she's dead. Hooray! So I know.
Maybe he already has.
Yes. You know, the Irene Adler thing was a very, very particular thing. You know, that somebody gets to him in whatever way she got to him, because neither of them seemed particularly interested in sex at all, which must have made they just like betraying each other and trying to get each other killed. So that's probably not a good relationship. That's normal.
That's most of them, I think.
Yeah, isn't it? Yeah. Not in the first year.
Go ahead.
Real quick, using the power of suggestion, Benedict Cumberbatch as the Master. Just throwing it out there.
I think maybe my life is complicated enough as it is.
There's a little more. Based off their intellectual personas, who do you think would solve a mystery faster? Sherlock Holmes, Batman, or the Doctor?
Well, Batman is not one. Batman, he'd be absolutely lost compared to Sherlock Holmes and the Doctor, obviously. I don't know, I think the crime would not get solved while they had a bitch fight with each other. It would be, oh, you're Sherlock Holmes, oh, brilliant. I've already solved it with my solid screwdriver, but never mind. Get out.
I know these questions are really the same questions that I used to ask when I was about 5, saying, who would win out of a fight between a Stegosaurus and a Tyrannosaurus? It's the same sort of argument, isn't it?
Yeah.
So who would win?
Very scary. I like Batman, by the way. I just lagged him off because I don't work in his show.
Speaking of the Doctor, you're in the middle of casting, and there's some online rumors that that there could be a woman considered for the part. Is that something that's random online speculation, or is there anything to that? And, could the Doctor ever be a woman?
Same problem with Benedict. He's terrible. To really sort this out.
I can't believe you said that.
Don't pass it on.
Go ahead.
Hi, my name's Danielle. I wanted to ask about
Lovely
Sherlock.
glossy hair.
Oh. I wanted to ask about Sherlock and Molly's dynamic. Like, are we as an audience going to be seeing more of a friendship being evolved, or is their relationship just going to come to a standstill?
Are you reading a question or just checking your phone?
No, I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget it.
I think it's really interesting, isn't it? I mean, they are friends. She is one of the very, very small number of people he trusts. She's one of the very small number of people he likes. And if you watch the scenes between Sherlock and Molly, apart from the very beginning, she always wins. She always wins. She makes him apologise. She humanises him. She tells him off. Wait till she see what she does next time. I mean, I don't think they're going to end up dating. Two sociopaths in one relationship would not be a good idea. It's a proper friendship they have. They are.
It's not going to go the way Tumblr thinks it's going to go.
And the place that we got to